Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Grief, the emotional shitstorm you never signed up for. Today, we are diving into the world of real estate through Miss Robyn Yack, our very dear friend of mine and realtor. And we're going to look into all the different things around that and especially how it connects to grief. My name is Margaret Dennis. I am a women's life empowerment and holistic grief coach, and I am the host of the show. And it is my pleasure to welcome Robyn to the show. Welcome, Robyn.
Thanks so much, Margaret. I'm so excited to be here and to talk to your listeners.
Yes, I'm excited for you to share your wealth of knowledge because I know you are like an expert in this field, and what they're going to learn today is very, very important and it's going to help support them. So, thank you very much for being here. I am going to read your bio so that people understand who you are and why they should be listening to you today. So, Robyn is originally from Montreal and moved to Toronto in 1997 to complete her law degree. Her extensive leadership experience in healthcare as a director of operations and business development gave her the tools to excel in real estate, where strategic thinking and compassion are key. Today, Robyn combines her professional expertise with a deep commitment to helping clients navigate life transitions, whether it's finding the perfect family home, investing in real estate, or preparing a high value property for market. Known for her integrity and results driven approach, she delivers trusted service that takes clients from stress to success. All right. Welcome, Robyn. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so
Me
excited to have you
too.
here. And I know just from knowing you and having the conversations that we've had that your heart is so much into what you do, which is a very rare thing out there. So, those of you who are listening, pay attention. Robyn is the real deal. Okay, let's get into it. So, Robyn, you specialize in helping clients through some of life's biggest challenges like separation, divorce, or financial struggles. So, how did you come to focus on this particular unique niche in real estate?
So it comes from my background. So my background, unfortunately, I went through a divorce many, many years ago. And I remember what it was like to not have any guidance, whether it was selling a house or all the challenges that come with divorce. And one of those big challenges, unfortunately, is the grief you feel for the life you had, the effect it has on your children, and the unknown of what your future holds for you. And so when I was starting out in real estate and speaking with people and letting people know who I was and my background, my law background and my personal background, a lot of people said to us, uh, why don't you specialize in helping couples going through a separation or divorce sell their matrimonial home? And I didn't even ever think that that was a niche that you could get into, but it makes perfect sense because um, for those of you who have gone through it, and many people have said this to me, where were you when I
Mm-hmm.
was on this path? Because there's lots of things that need to be taken into account that your average realtor doesn't know and doesn't want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the biggest problem. These are not easy transactions. And for us, it's not about a fast transaction. Most realtors want to put the sale sign up, sell it, and be done with it. And for us, we give more to our clients. We want to see them not only sell their house, but provide them with all the tools and the people that they will need to get them to the other side.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So it's a much more encompassed I want to almost say holistic view at real estate, right?
Yeah,
So
and we
you're
actually
bringing
do
in a
say that.
lot more. That I love it. I
Holistic,
love. Okay.
holistic is a word that we do often refer to our services, that it's a very well-rounded service that we offer. We have lots of connections, like yourself. like accountants, like insurance adjusters, every field that somebody who's going through a divorce will need, we can connect them with people, not necessarily on day one.
Hmm.
We'll go at the pace that they need, but we understand what they're going through. And it's so important to understand that and to be there for them. A lot of the people that we've dealt with have been abused either financially or physically or emotionally. And they're they're struggling in every aspect of their lives. There's lots of people who, when they were married, had no concept of their financials or their expenses or anything like that. So we really want to be there for them to take them from stress to success. And there really is this um, opening, this lack of service in this area to properly provide for these clients.
Hmm. Selling a house, like if it's by choice, is one thing, but if it's forced and coming out of an emotional breakup and a breakdown of a relationship, there's so many layers. I know it when I teach about grief, it's always like, don't make a big major decision in the first 6 to 12 months. Well, sometimes you're forced into that. So it's so great that they've got someone like you who can help support them and understands all the other layers that are going through with this particular situation, and understanding that there's grief in play at play in that as well. So wow, I love that you bring in all of the aspects of it and really don't push people, right, to get to the sale, to get to the end, and just stamp it and move on. I think that that's such a beautiful personal approach to what you're doing. So I have another question for you, Robyn. I get all kinds of questions. For couples going through separation or divorce, and selling the matrimonial home can be both emotional and complex, which is something we've already talked
Mhm.
about. What should people know before they start that process?
So, first of all, I think most people need to know that there are realtors like us out there that do specialize in this.
Hmm.
Very often they don't realize that we're there and the benefits of having someone with this experience. First of all, the matrimonial home has a special status in Ontario, and as such, both parties need to consent to the sale of the home, even if only one party is on title. So if you're very often the woman would maybe not be on title and is fearful that her ex-husband can sell the property out from under her. That can't happen. But it's also important to understand that just because the house sells, it doesn't mean that on closing you're going to get the sale proceeds. Because if you don't have a separation agreement and you're still arguing, then the real estate lawyer will be in contact with the family lawyers and they won't release those funds. So it's very important that as a realtor who knows these things, we can guide you on that. There's also things like, okay, well, if you're going to be fixing, if things need to be fixed and one party doesn't want it and the other party does, well, if somebody pays for it and the other party doesn't want to shell out the money now, you need to tell your family lawyer so that from the proceeds it all gets evened out. What do they do if the party that's actually living in the house doesn't clean it up, doesn't allow showings? We can guide them through all these things. Also, sounds so stupid, but okay, so you sell your house and closing is coming up, but who's taking what furniture? Has this been agreed upon? You don't want to be fighting on the lawn on the day of moving. You need to have this all sorted out. So these are just some little things that we guide you on by our knowledge and expertise. We also have a lot of expertise working with family lawyers. We've had to sit in on mediations and arbitrations when the parties can't agree on a listing price or a sale price. And so we know how to present the facts, taking out the emotion. And
Hmm.
very often the emotion is what supersedes logic,
Oh,
obviously.
all the time.
Um, and additionally, very often the two parties can agree on a realtor. And you know what? You don't have to. I mean, ideally, one realtor is better because then there's no back and forth and miscommunications. But if you can't agree, you don't have to. Have your each own representative to make sure that your interests are best served. And do not, under any circumstances, this is the biggest piece of advice we always tell people, do not use a realtor you know.
Mm,
When you are going through a separation or divorce, your best bet, everybody wants to use somebody they know, they think that A, they're going to get a better deal, B, that oh, they understand. No, no. You want somebody who's unbiased, because I can't tell you how many times we've heard from people who have not used us, who have used somebody that the other party wanted, and then after the fact they're like, oh, I feel like I'm being thrown through the ringer or taken advantage of or this, that, or the
hmm.
other thing. Whereas if you have an independent realtor who doesn't know either of you, then there's no skin in the game. They are there to protect both of you.
Right. That's a really, really good point, Robyn. Thank you for sharing that. Because I think when we're going through grief, we tend to latch on to who's comfortable. We tend to
Mm-hmm.
connect with the people that we feel will support us, even in an emotional way, even if it's on a subconscious level that we're seeking that. And the feeling of safety, right? Like I know this person, therefore I feel safe with them because the grief is it's so big, it's so huge. We're going through all of this. I need something I can feel good with, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, that's a really, really good point. Really good point. Thank you for sharing that. So, let's move on with some other questions. So, many people think home ownership is out of reach, especially if they face bankruptcy or have bad credit or only a small down payment. So, how does your ownable program, I love the name, make ownership possible for them? So, maybe tell people about what that is and how it works. That would be amazing.
So Ownable has been rebranded recently as Ownable. Previously, it was known as Rent to Own.
Mm,
And unfortunately, a lot of people, there's been some bad experiences with rent to own. So this is a more modern, transparent twist to the old rent to own. And the the reason it's called ownable is because the ultimate goal is to own the property. And this also works for our clients who are have gone through a separation or divorce. So they sell the matrimonial home, and often for whatever reasons their credit has been tarnished through the divorce.
yep.
Um,
Happened
they
to
they
me.
don't they don't necessarily have a 20% down payment. They don't necessarily have a great job, whatever.
Hmm.
There's been roadblocks. And this program allows you to get into home ownership by finding a property. So it's not, okay, well, here's a building and you have to rent in this building. And then there's the possibility for ownership. No, the way it works is whoever the person who's going to be the renter buyer gets qualified based on their income. They look at, and it's even good for self-employed people because they don't only look at your taxes. They actually look at all your income, and they look at your income. They do look at your credit score, but they're not basing the decision on the credit score. And all you need is a 5% down payment. So what happens is once you get approved, they say, okay, you're approved for a $700,000 house, whatever. We will then take them out to find the house that they want to own. Once they find that house, then we will then connect with the company that we work with, Clover Properties, who has a pool of investors. What happens is an investor purchases the property on their behalf. The renter buyer puts down the 5% as the deposit, and then they then rent it from the investor for 3 to 4 years. And what happens in that 3 to 4 years is A, Clover Properties works with the renter buyer to improve their credit, to make sure that they're mortgage ready based on all of their current status. So they will work with them because the ultimate goal at the end of the program is for them to be able to qualify for a mortgage. They sign a rental agreement. So they're covered by like the regular landlord and
Hmm.
tenancy board. And the rent payment that they pay covers the mortgage, property taxes, and insurance, which they would have to pay anyways. And a portion of that gets credited back to them every month. So let's say randomly, I'm going to pick up an amount. It's $3,000 a month, their rent. And also note that rent doesn't change throughout the entire period. So when you're actually renting, your rent can go up by 2%. Here it stays the exact same every year for the term. So let's say your rent payment is $3,000, 500 every month goes to increase what you've already put down as your deposit. So that it's forced
Mm.
savings as well, so that at the end of the period, you have this big lump sum that's anywhere around 10 to 15%. And finally, you sign an agreement with the investor today that states what the purchase price of the property will be in the 3 to 4 years at the end of the program. So you know now what the property is going to, what you're going to buy the property at, and it's generally only 4.5 to 5% more, which is much less than the average market appreciation of properties.
Wow. That's a really amazing offer for people who are struggling, especially coming out of a separation or divorce. I know when I left my marriage, it was my credit was in the toilet. Even just buying a car was like a little bit of a challenge. They're like, "Ooh, your credit's bad." I'm like, "Yes, but that was in the past," and is trying to do that. So it's amazing that you have a program like that that people can work through to at least try and get a little bit of a grip on their stability again, right? Like having a home, especially when you have children, a place where you can call home to create that new family dynamic in a stable environment is so important, so important.
And
So
especially when you have
amazing.
children and you're looking at their long-term schooling, and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have to be like, that's the thing. If you're renting, you never know. The landlord can sell the property, and then what? Like, what if the
Mm-hmm.
new people want to move in? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much uncertainty, whereas in this case, you're protected.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what we do when somebody approaches us, whether they're a young, like in their 20s, or if they're going through a separation or divorce or bankruptcy, and they say, okay, I have to move. We look at all the options for them, right? We'll look at the renting solely, we'll look at home ownership on their own, and we'll look at the rent to own. And so that way they can make an informed decision
Mm-hmm.
based on facts.
That's awesome. I think so often we let our emotions take over when we're going through stuff like that, and we just grab the first thing we can get and we figure we'll deal with the consequences later. So having that presented right at the very beginning as an option to consider, amazing. Amazing. And how many people have you worked with so far to go through that program? Do you have a ballpark?
So we've done a few deals. We just
Mm-hmm.
launched this we had to get certified
Mm-hmm.
Clover Properties because they don't work with every single real estate agent. But the company has seen over 550 million purchase transactions already. So that's proof that this pathway
Mm-hmm.
does work. They've been around for over 10 years. And the whole purpose is that, so your listeners should know that home ownership is in reach for everybody. And the goal of this company and of the investors is people first. It's not about
Mm.
profits, which is
Oh,
so amazing.
I love that. I love that. I'm so excited that you offer that program. That's amazing. And it's going to help so many people. So many people.
Yeah, that's the whole only thing we have to get. A lot of people don't know about it. So
Yeah.
that's why, we do these podcasts and try and get these things out there so that people are can know about this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm definitely going to be promoting for sure. For sure. All right, Robyn. So you've built your career around trust, compassion, and integrity. Can you share a story where those values made a big difference for one of your clients?
Yeah, so we had a rent to own program deal. And so it was interesting because she was separated and she just wanted to own something that was for her and her two kids. And we found a few properties. She ranked them in order, and the investors came in, and there were so many roadblocks to this deal. So the investors were from Quebec, and we didn't realize. Well, first of all, okay, let's take a step back. First of all, the appraisal came in, the first appraisal through the bank came in too low. Given the current market, it wasn't so surprising. But again, we know that banks are always cautious. And we had suggested that the investors go to a mortgage broker as opposed to a bank. And they really didn't want to do that. They didn't really want their credit to be like again looked at and everything. So, but we honestly believed that we could get over this hurdle. So we agreed to pay for the second appraisal if they agreed to go forward with it. And sure enough, it came back, and going with the mortgage broker, we were able to do that. We found out that because it was a corporation in Montreal, the mortgage broker couldn't, you can't get a mortgage if you're not a company in Ontario. So then we reached out to a lawyer who was able within a day to set up a corporation for them. So throughout the whole process, we kept her informed, even though she's not the purchaser, the renter buyer. But she was like, oh my God, like, what if I lose this house? And we said to her, there's other options. And we told the investors, like, the investors, like, maybe we walk away, let's go to the next house. But we used all the tools in our toolbox because it was our goal. This was the house of her dreams. This is the
Mhm.
house she wanted. And despite the fact that we literally had to have this house on conditions for 6 weeks. So it could have fallen through. Like what owner, what seller will allow for their house to be on a conditional sale for 6 weeks? I don't know how we managed to do it. But anyways, we did close the deal, and it was all about her trusting in us. We trusted in ourselves, and we had the compassion for what she wanted and needed, and we managed to make it work.
Oh, lucky lady.
That's why we say
Yeah.
trust service, excellent results.
Mm-hmm. That is a lot of hoops to jump through to make something happen. And not many people would do that. A lot of them would have said, oh, can't work it. We're going to have to do something else. Let's try something different. And I love how you're living your values of trust, compassion, and integrity and really embodying what you're doing because that means a lot when people come because when they come to work with you because especially I know working in grief people need to know like and trust you so well so that they can be vulnerable. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to finances. Financing is very vulnerable, right? You got
Mm.
to lift up under the hood and take a really good look at your financial situation and that can be really scary and very vulnerable for people. So to be able to hold them like that and be able to walk them through the process, be transparent, provide them with the highest level of service goes such a long way, such a
And
long way.
not to, and to not walk away when the going gets tough.
Well, and that, and who knows what they've just been through a separation and divorce. Maybe somebody else just walked away from them too, and so that's just strike number two, big one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really great. It's really nice to hear and see that there are real estate agents and realtors now, not real estate agents,
Both.
realtors, both out there that really put their clients first. It's a really great quality to have. So I have one last question for you. If someone listening right now is feeling overwhelmed, whether they're by financial stress or they're going through a major life change, what's the first step you would encourage them to take towards home ownership or selling their home, if that was something they were considering?
Yeah, don't go at it alone. You don't need to be alone. Take a breath, reach out to us for a conversation, and we will help you through the storm, through the fog, through everything. If we need to take baby steps, we will take baby steps. We realize that this is a very emotional time, and our role is to be the voices of reason, um, so that you make the decisions you need to make without with the least amount of emotion clouding those decisions. There's no reason to rush to sell, or rush to buy. I mean, obviously, I get it. If you guys are forced to live together, it's not a great circumstance, but our goal is to get you the highest price in the least amount of time and pain possible. So, we're here to support you and to get you through the entire journey. We will be there for you as long as you want us to be, and we will take you from stress to success, because I know from my own experience, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And
Mm-hmm.
you will, I know it doesn't seem like that, but we just want to be there on that day when you see that all this is behind you and your new tomorrow is ahead of you.
Oh, I love that. That's a nice thing to look forward to for a lot of people, to have that light at the end of the tunnel. I think when we're going through something as extreme as a separation or a divorce or a bankruptcy, it's really, really hard to see that light and to stay positive when we're dealing with everything else going on around us. So thank you very much for being that light for people. One of the things you've been saying all the way through is our. And I know you have an awesome business partner. So do you want to give a little shout out to Cheryl and talk a little bit about who she is so that people know who you're working with as well?
Yeah, so Cheryl is my business partner and a best friend of mine. Our girls have been best friends for years, and she's a teacher by trade, and she ran two successful businesses prior to real estate. She owned a five locations of a preschool, and then she owns some lice removal clinics. So she's a very good entrepreneur, very successful, and it was her idea to get into real estate. And we love working together. With the two of us, you get two for the price of one. You're covered in every aspect, day and night. And yeah, so yeah, we're a dynamic team.
I love it. Yes, I have met Cheryl once and I really, really enjoyed her. She's a lovely, lovely person. So, one last question. I've been asking this lately on my guests, and this question was not one that we talked about before. What is your superpower?
I think my superpower is my warm and welcoming and very my personality. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people say that it's one thing when they get referred to us, we're just another realtor, but when they actually speak to me and they see the passion that I have to help people, I think that's really, we always say, let's just get them in front of us because then they can't really say no to us. And but they see the knowledge that we bring, the expertise, and the empathy and compassion.
Mhm. I laugh because that's what I say to people too. I'm like, it's one thing to read my posts on social media and read my newsletters, but get in a room with me and then we'll talk. Then we'll really talk. So
And
yes.
it's funny because we want to get, like we've talked about on our website, to have like just us, like if people could just
Great idea. Great idea. Well, Robyn, thank you very, very much for being on the podcast today. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I've actually learned quite a bit in today's conversation. So thank you very much. Quite certain that the listeners have learned a lot today, too. So if you are going through a separation, a divorce, a bankruptcy that is requiring you to sell your home, please, please reach out to Robyn if you're in the Ontario market. And if not, I'm sure she can refer you to someone out where you are. And don't go it alone. It's like your grief journey is hard enough on its own. Do not do this alone. Reach out to Robyn and Cheryl and get some really, really knowledgeable and compassionate support. So, Robyn, again, thank you very much. And we'll keep all of your contact information down in the show notes below, so people can reach out to Robyn. They can find. I will have her website and all of her contact information down there as well. So thank you all very much for joining us. If you know of someone who would benefit from hearing today's show, please forward it on to them. Until the next time, we will see you next time on Grief, the Emotional Shitstorm You Never Signed Up For. Take care.